Poland, 1992. A warm, quiet night from August 31st to September 1st. A night when nothing hinted at tragedy. Former Prime Minister Piotr Jaroszewicz and his wife, Alicja Solska, were in their villa in Anin, near Warsaw. They were preparing to go to bed. The gates were locked, the doors secured, their dog guarded the property. Everything suggested completely safety. But three unknown men silently breached the property. They used a sleeping gas to neutralize the dog and quietly entered through the bedroom window. What happened next would become one of the most mysterious crimes in modern Polish history. At the moment of the attack, Piotr Jaroszewicz was watching television. When a silence struck him on the head with the butt of a gun, the attacker dragged him to his study and tied him to a chair. Alicia was awakened, taken to the bedroom next to the bedroom, tied up and shot almost immediately. But Piotr was tortured for some time before being strangled with a belt. What was the motive of the killers? It's a mystery shrouded in darkness. Like, what drove them? Why did they so cold-bloodedly kill the former Prime Minister, first torturing him and then strangling him? To this day no one knows for sure, and when the police investigated the case, there were many inconsistencies. Even the time killers spent in the house remains unclear. Some said the whole night, others barely 15 minutes. But police made a serious mistake, because the crime scene was poorly secured and anyone could walk in. Neighbors heard nothing, bodies lay undiscovered until the next day when their son Andrzej came to visit. But one thing was clear, this was a carefully planned murder of particular brutality. There is no doubt that the killers had personal score to settle with the former Prime Minister. But what was it? Hatred of communism? Or it was state-sponsored assassination? Maybe a message to someone? Or someone wanted to hide information? And also the Prime Minister's right hand was free while he was tied up. Could he have signed something? Robbery at the scene of a high-profile murder that's still being talked about, and even after 30 years, the building still exudes the frightening sense of mystery, so let's delve deeper into theories.
What happens that evening doesn't fit into the usual framework. We saw traces, but not all of them can be explained.
At first, the police insisted that this was a robbery-related murder. Initially, the focus was on a group of robbers from the town of Minsk Mazowiecki. They were known by the nicknames Fascist, Książek, Nyniak, and Sztywny. A finished knife was found on Książek's apartment. It was shown to Andrzej Jaroszewicz along with other knives, and he claimed to have seen it in his father's house. Together with the testimony of Jadwiga, fascist mistress, this became key evidence in the trial that began in April 1994. However, the case ultimately fell apart, and in 1998, the provincial court in Warsaw acquitted all four defendants due to lack of evidence.
In cases like this, the details are always more important than the big picture. And here, certain coincidences raise questions.
Then the police turned their attention to other suspects, members of the so-called karate gang and organized group specializing in robbery were arrested.
Ze swoimi kompanami z gangu karateków, Marcinem B. oraz Robertem S., szefem całej grupy. Pierwszy z nich bardzo szybko przyznał się do udziału w napadzie, a o zabicie Jaroszewiczów obciążył szefa gangu. Tego ostatniego na przesłuchanie...
Several gang members have confessed and claiming that the motive was purely robbery. A collection of 5,000 German marks, 5 gold coins, 2 pistols, and a woman's watch were stolen. But if it really was a robbery, So why did they leave 39,000 zloty untouched? The public was skeptical about this motive. After a long time, in 2019, the prosecutor's office officially charged 3 members of the karate gang with the murder of the former Prime Minister, Martin B., Dariusz, and Robert. The trial began in 2020. A year later, the men were released from custody due to lack of evidence, but remained under police supervision. In November 2024, all 3 defendants were acquitted.
This case has caused a public outcry. There are too many questions and too few answers.
Piotr Jaroszewicz possessed enormous secrets, including information about certain archives from the Polish People's Republic, which he may have concealed. As former Prime Minister during and after World War II, he was responsible for the repatriation and distribution of captured property, and may have had access to or known the location of secret bank accounts. Valuables taken from Germany or transferred to the USSR after 1945, the so-called Reichsgold or Soviet matryoshkas. The criminals tortured Jaroszewicz to obtain information about these secrets or the store where they were stored. And those who ordered this murder, they knew that their names would never be revealed. At present, in 2025, the case remains unsolved. No one has been found guilty, the fate of missing documents remains unknown, and the real motive has not been established officially.
If you let this go, if you allow this case to simply disappear, then we will be encouraging other people to use the same cruel methods.
This story is one of the most mysterious in Poland's history. Now, here's a question for you. Which versions do you think most likely? Write your answers in the comments. See you next time.